Yo, what's goody, y'all? It's your boy Cam, and I'm back with another reaction video. How you guys feeling? How you guys doing? How you guys day going? Comment down below. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Today we're reacting to the lie that killed him. Cop and female killer exposed, and LSU star's death. First and foremost, I want to start off by saying, may this individual rest in peace. My condolences go out to his loved ones and anyone that may have been affected by the situation. Unfortunately, someone did end up taking their life, so I want to start off by sending my condolences and prayers out to those that may have been affected by the situation. Now, this video right here is a very sad situation. I'm not sure if you guys are too familiar about it, but I'm sure my guy is gonna get full into details so you guys can understand what's actually going on. Shout out to the Family TV for the content. That's enough chatting, talking. Let's get into this video and see what's going on. Before we get into this video, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with the like button and post notifications and notified every time I post a video. Also, if you guys have any videos that you would like me to react to on my social media sites in the description below, feel free to send them in and I react to them. With that being said, let's get right into the video.
Fam, it's hard going over some of these stories. More than often, you find yourself putting yourself in these shoes of the victims. Because truth be told, they could be me or you. Knowing we living in an imperfect world, sometimes we can only bank on justice. But just like anything else in life, nothing is perfect, including our Justice Department and our enforcement on laws. Now, there's been some breaking news within the last 72 hours of a star football player who recently took his life earlier this year. But it wasn't for nothing. You're talking about a man who was judged by the public before he even had a jury. A young man that worked his whole life towards one craft and put himself in position to possibly be drafted. And after knowing you didn't do nothing, but get everything stripped away from you, publicly and behind closed doors, all for lie, some might say that's enough to do the unthinkable. Now today we go over the facts that a lawyer who was representing this young star football player, who we'll briefly discuss once again, has still managed to keep his word by defending this young man even though he's no longer living on this earth. Not only for his name, but his reputation, and for possibly others who could be put in this situation. So since this information has been presented to the public, let's just say the Family TV wanted to do as much as possible to bring this to you guys' attention in chronological order while presenting the facts. And that's what I plan on doing here today. So without wasting too much time on this intro, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna jump right to it. 5 months ago, we did a story on a star LSU wide receiver who went by the name of Kyren Lacey. Of course, I'll leave the link in the bio. But in that video, we disclose on the public information on how he allegedly lost his life while on the highway. Now, we'll briefly get confirmation on what truly took place and why from his attorney in this video. We also disclose how he transferred to LSU, his upbringing, and what was the charges to his case. Now, since Lacey had lost his life, may he rest in peace, his attorney and his staff still been working day and night to fight to clear his name and for justice. Now, since his demise, a lot of things has come to light. Like the alleged perpetrator, she's been identified, her statement to authorities, and a local officer who seemed to have coerced this young lady and a witness into making these statements. Now, we'll later disclose their identity, but one of the biggest takeaways that I want us to get from this video is the district attorney's office investigation. Besides the body cam footage, this information allowed Lacey's attorney to compare and contrast during his interview with the local authorities' investigation. Now, to get us all caught up, Lacey was under investigation in Louisiana in connection with the crash in December of 2024 that left a 78-year-old man identified as Herman Hall, a veteran, also a passenger in the crash, had lost his life. May he rest in peace. Officials said in January, Lacey was accused of driving recklessly, speeding and passing a no-passing zone when the motorist swerved to avoid Lacey and crashed into another vehicle. But in a recent interview with HTV10, Lacey's attorney Matthew provided video that appears to show Lacey's vehicle well behind the crash and that he was more than 200 feet away from the cars upon impact.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Martin False, and if you recall, months ago, I had attorney Matt Ory on our program to talk about Kyren Lacey's involvement or non-involvement in a wreck that took place, which took the life of a very popular man, Mr. Hall, and it was well documented, it went national. It was talked about, it was written about, it was blogged about.
All over the place.
It was all over the nation. So I did tell Mr. Ory back then, and I also tell everyone involved in this, whether you're an attorney or whether you're part of the investigation, you're always welcome to tell your story. on HTV. So I told Mr. Ori, if you have anything to add to the story at any point, please give me a holler and we'll get you on. So joining me now is Matt Ori, attorney, and good to see you, Matt. Thank you for coming.
Good to see you, Martin. Thank you for having me.
Did you compile anything new?
I've got everything. I've got every piece of evidence I have viewed. I've examined every piece of evidence, which includes all surveillance, all body cam footage, and most importantly, the investigative report that was generated and manufactured by the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office, according to the data that they obtained.
In that report, which is independent of you, when I was going through it and looking at some of these things in it, I think you'll probably go over where they were, because I see you brought a board where you're going to depict where all of them were during the incident, and you have all that information to sort of explain where everyone was at, how fast they were going, what they were doing, all of that.
I do. I've got it all here.
Okay. Is most of this reports, or do you have actual video?
At the entirety of the district attorney's findings, their findings after their own investigation. That's what we're here today to present. We're going to compare and contrast those findings with the findings of state police, because there's a ton of confusion. People seem to believe that somehow he hit someone in this accident, or possibly even shot through two cars and there was this explosion behind him. I've heard every version possible, but we can show you the version right now.
Okay. Sort of describe the video for our audience, what you've seen in the video.
Yeah, so what you'll see is in the top left of the screen, you're going to see multiple cars just making their way south to Thibodaux, coming from Vacherie. At some point in time, you're going to see the collision, which we're going to know is vehicle number 2 from oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall. You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see Kyren Lacey come to a stop.
So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens, and then Kyren Lacey is behind him. How far away was he from there?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyren Lacey did, in fact, pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyren Lacey passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall. At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles. That is not how this story was ever painted. Never.
Any part of the district attorney's investigation that talked about Mr. Lacey getting back, I guess we call it, what do you call it, correcting or getting in your proper lane?
Sure, he was back in his proper lane according to their data. This isn't my expert. This is the investigation of the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office. So I'm here simply comparing and contrasting the District Attorney's Office with state police in this matter, their investigations. And in that investigation, it shows that he was back in his correct lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Before this incident occurred, he was back in his lane.
What does the legal law state about where you should be behind, or I want to say I thought it was 100 feet. Is that correct?
It is correct. Take out the fact here that it's a no passing zone. If it weren't at this time, it's 100 feet. What we know now is he was 3 times legally what he needed to be back in his lane of traffic.
Where was everybody involved in this? And I see you brought something that you could visibly show everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like I stated, if we're looking at this, and of course this isn't to scale, and I can't draw, but what you see here is vehicle 3. That is Mr. Hall's vehicle. This is another vehicle between Mr. Lacey and Mr. Hall.
Okay.
This is the gold truck that's referenced in the report. This is heading north. So this is the lead vehicle heading north. And the vehicle that actually collided with Mr. Hall's vehicle, that would be vehicle 2. All right? So through the course of this now, we start investigating and dissecting everything we possibly can. When we do that, we start with vehicle 2, right? So what do I know now about vehicle 2? Vehicle 2 was tailgating, all right, according to the data, again, of the district attorney's office, not me, according to their data. Tailgating at 49.6 miles an hour, 0.5 seconds behind the gold truck, 1.5 seconds before the crash. So again, if that did make sense, she is following 0.5 seconds behind this vehicle, 0.5 seconds behind that vehicle, 1.5 seconds before the crash at over 49 miles an hour. 0.5.
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. That's,
Word.
you know, so now what we're looking at, this isn't speculation. Through this, we hear there's story after story. Actually, Vehicle 2's story got bigger and bigger and bigger until we now have their data, right? So when we get our hands on it, I'm looking at the data from that particular vehicle. That data in that vehicle shows me 5 seconds previous to this crash. 5. I'm looking at it, and you're going to show it. 5 seconds previous to this crash, she maintained a speed of 49.6 miles an hour, never activating the EBS system until 0.5 seconds before the crash. Why is that important? Because if your story, which we'll get into, keeps getting bigger and bigger, and you had all this time to see the gold truck, in her words, stomp on their brakes, slam on their brakes, come to a stop, veer off the road. I see another vehicle approaching. I see the Charger approaching. Well, my question to you now becomes, how did you see that vehicle approaching, or him stop, or him slam on his brakes, yet your data says you never touched your brake?
Now, one thing a lot of people don't understand, right, when it comes down to vehicles, there's something called a black box, right? When you get into a car accident, anything that happens with your vehicle in an accident, involved in an accident, fatally, speeding, and anything of the sort, seriously body on a total vehicle, anything of the sort, and someone's suing you, they go pull that box right out of your car. And that box tells police, whoever's doing the investigating, everything that you were doing from the accident, leading up to the accident, even the day before. It's like a storage box for your car. So for those out there think they're going to try to get into an accident with somebody and just do whatever they want to do, and anybody going to find out, your car's telling on you. Your car's telling on you. So I'm sure that that's exactly what just happened here. She went and built up a lie, you understand, not knowing that her car was going to tell them everything they need to know.
Prior to 0.5 seconds before that crash, I'm looking right now, so are you, at the last 5 seconds, according to her. Her car's black box, not mine, not my expert. That's her car. So if you're going to tell me a 5 to 10 second elaborate story, it needs to make sense. And when you have the data, not only doesn't it add up, it's not possible. Notice on there, Martin, it says 75 degrees, right? You turn 75 degrees to the left all of a sudden. That's what happens when you tailgate. Now, interestingly enough, this vehicle was actually, when this woman was in the ambulance, they issued her a ticket, all right? You know for what? Take a wild guess. Following too close.
I was going to say that.
Data from the district attorney's office tells me you're traveling 0.5 seconds at 49.6 miles an hour, 1.5 seconds before the accident. That's not tailgating? That's not following too close? Of course it is. Ticket was taken away.
I'm looking at the data, and I'm learning some new things here. So the 75, the steering input at 75 to the left.
That's correct.
Any indicate that, I would guess 75 on a scale of 100, that's a pretty hard turn to the left.
It's a very hard turn to the left. The gold truck, the lead vehicle in oncoming traffic, who, by the way, is probably one of the two most important witnesses in this entire case. We know now that 2.99 seconds prior to him pulling off the road, he was traveling 28 miles an hour. 28 miles an hour. Now, you're going to hear his statement in a little while, and it's going to all make sense. But let's be very clear right now for the intent and purposes of what we're doing. There are two vehicles that we're talking about right now that are traveling north. The second vehicle in oncoming traffic, which is vehicle 2, their data says she is tailgating. She is 0.5 seconds at 49.6 miles an hour. 1.5 seconds before the crash. And you saw her data, 50.3 to 49.6.
Yeah, so she stayed at 49.6
For 5 seconds.
until 0.5 seconds, and then
There's a variation of less than a mile per hour.
yeah,
It's 0.7, I believe.
right. Did she give any police report or anything?
Oh, absolutely. So,
Let's talk about that a little
yeah,
bit.
we will. This particular individual, and for purposes of this report, I'd like you, Morton, this is page 9, if you could follow along to make sure I'm not misquoting a single thing.
All right.
All right, I'm looking at the investigative report of the district attorney's office. And then here you can see this is their investigator looking at vehicle 2 statements, and now he's analyzing. He says, upon reviewing the body cam video of the trooper from the scene, the following statement was made by, we'll call her vehicle 2, right? I just know the truck was stomping on brakes. The other was trying to pass the other car. I was trying to dodge by not hitting him, by coming around. When the trooper asked how fast she was going, she replied the speed limit. He next says, I reviewed the recorded interview and the written statement from vehicle 2 while she was in the hospital on January 3rd, 2025. Below is a synopsis of that interview. And at very first it says, all I can see is that a car is coming this way and the car in front of me. Right before the crash, I'm looking at the pickup truck in front of me. That's all they see for the moment. I'm eating my Funyuns. I got in the middle of my lap and I'm driving. I'm listening to my music. All of a sudden, I see the car get in the other person's lane. The truck, end quote, steps on his brakes. First, so it slows down, but then he does it again, and this time it's really hard. That's when you can see on the other side, the car is trying to get back over. But before he can get over, the truck stops in the middle, like on the brakes, hard. There's another car that runs damn near into the pole. It's either I run into him or I try to get out the way, so I'm trying to get into the dollar store parking lot. Then the other car just comes and slams into me. The trooper asked vehicle 2, whenever you're looking forward, or the car's in front of you, they swerve off to the right before you make your left, or are you looking at a green Charger coming at you? Or, in end of quotes. Vehicle 2 responded with, the green Charger came, and then the car behind me, behind them, the truck, the van, whatever. The trooper does not ask any further follow-up questions to get a better understanding of what she was saying for this answer. Now remember, I'm reading what the investigator's saying. When vehicle 2 states the truck stops in the middle of the road like on the brakes hard, this statement indicates that the gold truck stopped in the middle of the lane and not, in quotes, swerving off to the right. This would also show that vehicle 2 would have steered to the left to avoid contact with the gold truck and not Kyren Lacey. During this interview with the trooper, vehicle 2 made several statements that do not match the submitted report or written statement. Instead of questioning vehicle 2 for more details, the trooper attempted to recap what she was saying, which seems to contradict her statements. While doing this, the trooper is the first to talk about the gold truck swerving off to the right. Then when it came to obtaining the written statement, the trooper tells vehicle 2 what to document on the statement as she is writing.
I have 2 questions here. One, I'd like to know more about the statement that she made to the trooper. The other one would be, do we have any data on the gold truck?
2.99 seconds before the gold truck eases off to the road, eases off of the road.
Right.
He's traveling at 28 miles an hour.
Right.
That all is in this report.
Yeah, that's my question.
You watch someone slam on their brakes. You watch them stop. You watched a car coming at you in your lane of traffic, but you never thought to just tap the brakes? Really? Data is accurate. The black box is accurate that says that you never touched your brakes. You never touch your brakes in the last 5 seconds until 0.5 seconds before the impact.
As the attorney said, that's never how the story was painted, but it get deeper. He disclosed more information, like the body cam footage from the officer receiving a statement from the man who allegedly stomped his brakes, and the statement from driver number 2, the woman who said that because Lacey was coming in the opposite direction to avoid hitting him, she had to swerve, which caused the crash. But according to the district attorney findings, that wasn't the case. Now, before I let you hear what the district attorney findings was and what the attorney had to say alongside the body cam footage, let's identify who allegedly is driver number 2 and who allegedly the officer was who received the statement. Now, driver 2 was allegedly Brianna Imani Gray. And according to public records from taxpaying citizens, the officer is allegedly Tyler Warner. Since being identified on social media, they disabled their accounts. But it wasn't before some people was able to get some screenshots. And let's just say out the gate, from the outside looking in, it seemed they allegedly been living a life since that accident with no care in the world. Now, as you look at this next clip, notice in the body cam footage, an officer is talking to a man in the truck who claimed that the driver of vehicle 2 caused the crash, despite police telling the man to write down specifics regarding Lacey in his statement, which was ultimately refused.
That's their data. It's not mine.
Proceed. What did you find out after that?
So what I was curious about here, most importantly to me, in terms of the oncoming traffic, right? So I'm looking at that gold truck. I want to know what they said, when they said it, what were the circumstances, how did this come about? And this is where it really starts tying together, right? The gold truck, they end up getting a statement from this individual. There's two of them. The very first one, what I noticed on the body cam was that the conversation was going on for 4 minutes and approximately 30 seconds prior to the body cam being activated. And of course, when the body cam's activated, I don't know what you said those previous 4.5 minutes, they end up at this individual's house to obtain a statement. I want to play right now how that statement started.
Okay, let's roll that in.
All right, sir. So, look, don't worry about filling any of this top information, like your name, your address. Don't worry about any of that. Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. That you just.
All right, me and my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
I ain't speed my car. That's what I wasn't even going for. That lady in the back of me, she didn't know what was happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? Right. And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now. So,
do y'all not understand that this shit is fucking recording you? Are you serious, bro? That is bro, wow. Wow. Now, in the beginning of the video, I said it was a sad situation because this kid took his life. Understand? He ended up killing himself behind this situation occurring. And like bro said, imagine living your life unknowing that everything's getting stripped from you. Knowing that you're innocent. You had nothing to do with this shit or anything of the sort. And this is what's going on behind you. You have a young lady who went and was, whatever her problem was, tailgating, whatever case may have you, turned her car to go around somebody, made murder turn, killed somebody else, and is trying to get away with it. She has a cop that's in her favor, trying to help her and whoever else around the situation, convince everyone that this green Charger that was driven by this young kid was driving, that he was the cause of this accident. Now, my thing is this. Everybody's car is fucked up except for his. Y'all had this footage from the beginning. So, why did it take for so long for this shit to come out? This shit, y'all had this body cam footage recording. Why is it taking so long for this shit to come out? This kid got stripped of everything. Endorsements, his college scholarship, his career. Everything got stripped from this kid. From this shit happening. Mind you, the police is literally convincing this man telling this man what to put in this report. And he's telling him, nah, it wasn't me. The young lady behind me was the reason to cause this accident. And yet, this is still going on as an investigation. Damn, son. This is crazy, bro.
So just include that in the statement.
That's
Any
crazy.
of this
Make sure you add in. Make sure. Don't forget to put this, because this is crucial. Make sure you put this. That's insane,
top
bro.
information, like your name and address. Don't worry about any of that. Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. That you just.
All right, maybe my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
I ain't skid mark or nothing, but I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't say what was happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? Right. And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be out of here.
In that video, you can clearly hear the suggestive
That's
nature
fucking crazy,
indicating that I need you to say that you had to slam on your brakes and you had to avoid a charger.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
But then you hear Gold Truck, the witness who's the Gold Truck, what he says. And he says verbatim.
I ain't skid mark or nothing, but I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't say what was happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
I didn't skid marked or nothing because I wasn't even going that fast. That lady in the back of me, she didn't see what's happening. That's how she caused that wreck. She was going to run into the back of me, and she pulled into the other side. But there's a bigger problem. I then obtained the actual written statement.
And this is from the Gold Truck.
This is the Gold Truck. Now, after the statement we just went through, notice I've obviously redacted names, addresses, and the cell phone number in fairness to the individual who is Gold Truck number one in oncoming traffic. See, the problem with that statement is it is in direct contravention to what was said minutes earlier. It's not written by him, and where it says signed,
It wasn't signed by him.
it's not signed, it's refused. But you see, when I have a witness who is the most critical, and he's telling you, I wasn't traveling fast. We know now that he wasn't. The data shows 2.99 seconds before that he was traveling 28 miles an hour. The data shows that. Now he corroborates that. And he goes on to say, I didn't even make a skid mark. That woman behind me, she caused that accident. And you give me this statement that is refused? I got a problem. I got a problem with that. A big one. What he's saying is she
Because
had
in the beginning, he said, "Don't fill out the name, don't fill out the address, don't worry about none of that." That was, and I didn't. Not that I'm like, oh yeah, that raised a red flag, but now it makes sense as to why he still had to fill it out, because in his mind he already had set, we gonna blame it on this charger. You understand? And the fact that the attorney's saying now that he didn't even sign off on it, it just lets you know that he got the body cam footage to show that he went there to get a statement. But that's not the statement he gave. The cop gave the statement because the guy never wrote off and signed off on it because he didn't write that statement. He never wrote the statement. The cop changed the statement to turn it in without the witness's signature on it and told him not to fill out his name or anything of the sort because he could alter it at any given time he wants. He could write his name. Ain't no saying a person's handwriting. Ain't no saying. So the cop went there just to prove that he went to get a statement. But then after went back and rewrote the statement and gave it into the DA to say, "Hey, this is what the witness wrote for me. This is what the witness wrote." This nigga's sick, bro. Sick.
avoid hitting him.
Sick.
He specifically stated she caused that accident. But I've got an affidavit for arrest warrant right here. Nowhere in here does it say anything that you guys just saw on body cam. To the contrary, about that vehicle, it says the gold truck took evasive action by emergency braking and driving off the roadway to avoid a head-on crash. But you just heard he said, I wasn't even going fast. I didn't even skid mark. So what emergency braking are we referring to here? And what the hell was the point of this report? It is complete opposite. I would expect that you'll show this to where they can read what was said versus what was written just minutes earlier.
And just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, like, you know, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's...
I ain't skid mark or nothing. I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't know what was happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct?
Right.
And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be out of here. Okay?
By the way, the body cam wasn't on for this statement. It was turned off before obtaining this statement. And this is what we get back in the file. This. Remember, Kyren passed. I'll just put X's. This is where Kyren passed, right? He comes here, he passes. He gets back in his lane. Don't you know that one of these witnesses that's in this package actually says in his statement that the Charger passed through the vehicle of Mr. Hall and the gold truck and vehicle 2, and then they collided. I can't make this up. This is what people just don't get to see. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not saying this intentional. I'm saying people commit to a story and they don't back down. You saw it here, but I'm telling you, you guys saw a video. You just saw a statement where somebody tells them what to say. They tell them that's not what happened. They still give me the statement. And now I got another individual who we won't harp into here because it's so uncredible, right? That one individual, one of the 4 individuals here, they say that they were going 30 to 35 miles an hour when Kyren passed him. He did. There's no disputing that. No one ever did, but he was back in his lane of travel. 92.3 yards back in, 72.6 at the time of impact. When they collide, he is 72.6. Before they collide, he is almost a football field away back in his lane. That's not disputed. What you can see is another car come to a stop, and then Kyren Lacey come to a stop. But you know what's really interesting to me as well is that there was another passenger in Kyren Lacey's car. They knew this. They have video footage of this individual getting out of the car. Why didn't you ascertain his identity? Why would you not want to hear the person with one of the best views of this incident? Why would you make a call? Why would you simply not bring him in for questioning?
And I'm sure you talked to him after?
Of course I talked to him after. It's exactly what they said. Yeah. It's exactly what they said. Mm-hmm. They actually thought at one point in time that she collided with the gold truck. That's the very first thing they told me, that they thought that this vehicle 2, was trying to get around the 2, as in slide between them, as in, uh-oh. You know, so you can see why. This is just amazing now, what I know, and there's so much more. We've spent hours and hours and hours scouring. But I don't know how else to tell anybody else that this is not mine. I didn't generate this. I didn't manipulate this. I didn't alter it. I didn't manufacture it. I received it from the district attorney's office. I then did my job, and I compare it to the report and the investigation of state police, and it is drastic. It's drastic. The very last line of the report from the district attorney's office says, the evidence submitted in the crash report does not support that Kyren Lacey should have known that his actions were the cause of the crash that happened approximately 72 yards in front of him. And what we know is, we never disputed ever that he passed those vehicles. They were in a row, 4 vehicles in a row. We know they were going 30 to 35 miles an hour. He passed them. It was a no passing zone, but he got back in. 92.3 yards, he was back in his lane of travel. He was 72 yards behind at the time of impact. We know that now. He was actually the second car to pull up behind, not even the first. At no point in time did he have to slam his brakes. He wasn't even close to the second car. He just eased in. He eased in. He went straight from there to the facility in Trevor for his football practice. But he had no idea he caused this accident because he didn't think he caused the accident. He didn't cause the accident.
When did you get knowledge of it? When did you first get on the case itself? When were you notified?
Weeks after. Remember, from the time of this investigation to when a warrant was executed, there were weeks apart, right? And then I get involved after that. By the time I get involved, he's already charged with this. So that's a circumstance that I inherit.
Right.
But, you know, you hear things, you keep your eyes open, you keep your ears open, and you listen, and something wasn't passing the litmus test here. So, you know, when you look back on this and you see actual data, it's not mine, that shows these types of things, and you go as far as a witness saying he split between two vehicles and then there was this spontaneous combustion, it truly should open some eyes, right? That is not even close to what happened.
As you started your discussion
This shit is sad, bro.
with Kyren Lacey, and look, once again, we'll talk about Mr. Hall later in the program because we're not avoiding talking about a veteran, but I want to stay on point here just for a second. When you're talking to Kyren Lacey and he's saying, Matt, I wasn't involved in this. What was his mindset like at the time?
It's horrible. Look, man, you got a young kid that's getting assassinated on public media, social media. He begged me to help him. I was already helping, but it was a consistent deal, obviously, meaning far after representation, begging me to help him. And you move as fast as you can with what you have, right? But there was a defining point for me in this whole situation that I knew he wasn't joking. And he referenced things in football fields. And I know it's easy to look back and say, oh, I bet he never said that. He's deceased now. BS. I'm telling you now what he told me. He said I was a football field. A football field is how he compared things, right? So he's saying when he got back in his lane of traffic, I know I was a football or even a little over a football field over by the time I'm back in my lane. And when I told him that they had video surveillance of this whole thing, it was like he was relieved for a second. Because I think in his mind, he thought that which most did. Most people that I talk to think that he actually hit the vehicle or he barely got past him and then they collided. That was the narrative that I heard the most. So in his mind, at least he's looking at this going, okay, somebody can show I was actually watched this accident. I saw it. And he told me there was a car between them. Hell, after I read everything prior to meeting with him and the things that I heard, I'm questioning what's going on here. Did he just get through and take off like they suggested? You and I read reports earlier. We're looking at all news reports where they say he actually collided with a vehicle.
They did.
They actually said he fled a scene. They actually said he came back to the scene. Do you know how preposterous that is? None of that's true. And he sure as hell never split the difference and barely got through, and then there was some big explosion. That's not what happened. Kyren Lacey passed 4 vehicles. There's no question, in a row. Nobody ever disputed that. But it's now undisputed that he got back in. 92.3 yards. Now, interestingly enough, the report indicates that at 120.4 yards, he was already entering back into the lane, right? The reason they reference that is they say in this report, the district attorney's office, their investigation yielded that at that time, Kyren and vehicle number 2, all right, 1.5 seconds before the accident or 120.4 yards apart.
So it said 120.4 yards, not feet.
All this is yards. This is not feet.
It's a big difference.
The only footage we have discussed, you and I today, is what's legally required when you pass a vehicle.
100 feet.
You have to be back in your lane of traffic 100 feet. He was over 300 feet. I'll be the first to admit that particular law does not say when you're in a no passing zone. Be clear. He passed 4 vehicles in a no passing zone. Never been disputed, not once. Did I ever dispute that or anybody else? But the big narrative spun was, and this is very important, that he was actively passing at the time of this accident. That is extremely important. We know now that is 100% false. In the conclusion of the district attorney's report,
What page you on? I'm going to follow it.
This is on page 12.
Yeah, let me get to 12 here. Okay, go ahead.
They state in here that they gave the impression that Kyren Lacey was actively passing vehicles when the crash occurred, which is incorrect. He did pass 4 vehicles, but was back in the southbound lane before the crash occurred. And now we know, according to this data, that was 72.6 yards, as it's stated in this report.
I think at one point while we were talking, you indicated to me that Kyren was very close to being vindicated on this matter. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in my opinion, I had a very good idea of enough started adding up to me to know that there were holes all over this thing, right? So it's the policy of the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office that all homicides go to a grand jury. We were nearing that grand jury, right? Where all of this was coming out. Everything I'm telling you now is going to be presented to a grand jury in a fair, neutral, and impartial manner. So, in my opinion, this never survives a grand jury. Never, ever survives a grand jury. We were 48 hours from that, from this report getting to the grand jury.
Fuck.
Right? So, it is the process. They moved it as quickly as they could. And by that, I just mean, it was done just like, which is the right thing to do, like every other case. It was done fair and square where, look, we have a homicide. We have to go through this process. The only promise that Ms. Russell made to myself and civil counsel for Mr. Hall was that she would complete the investigation and immediately set it for grand jury out of fairness to both. And she did that. She did exactly what she promised she would do. Insofar as an investigation, we had no idea what a result would be on her end. No clue. Mm-hmm. We just knew it was being done. They didn't sit on it for, some amount of time. They worked it thoroughly, but in the time manner that they could. And they set it for grand jury just like they promised. So we couldn't have asked for more from a office who has always been and will always be just extremely fair. Right? That's all you can ask for. There's no fault on their part. There's certainly no fault whatsoever on the part of Mr. Hall. That's a wonderful family. Believe me, it's not easy for me to get up here right now. There's a man who passed away other than Kyren Lacey, and his life was just as important as Kyren Lacey.
And that was one thing I regretted, and I would tell the family that I didn't spend enough time talking about Mr. Hall. He's deceased, and just
that's
paying our respects to their family, too, because they're grieving, and naturally they're going through a lot of turmoil too. But of course, I guess what we're looking for on this show is, and I think everyone would want it. I don't care which side you're on. You just want the truth.
I just want the accurate truth, right? What one thing, and I hate to, in fact, I'm not going to harp on it again, but you're right. That's all we're after here is a better picture of the truth. Mm-hmm. That's it. Never what do you get me up here to try and put a black eye on state police. Look, man, these guys got a tough job. Right. Tough job. There's some excellent, wonderful individuals, more than I can ever imagine, actually. I enjoy working with them. That's not my point here. But I hold myself accountable. I hold everyone that I come across accountable. They get no pass from me either. That doesn't mean they're bad people, right? That's not what we're here to say. That's not what I'm saying. I've never said that. I never will. I'm simply here to compare and contrast. Now, the findings of the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office versus the findings of state police.
Now you see, that's one thing I try to instill in people, that police, all kind of law enforcement, any type of state city job, these people have a very hard job to do. You understand? And it takes a very special individual to get the job done, to maintain that job, get to do the job the correct way. It definitely takes a lot to get it done. You understand what I'm saying? So I hate the fact that when one cop makes a bad decision or does the wrong thing, that the whole force gets looked at. Oh, fuck the police, this and the fuck to this, that, this and the third. It's not everybody. You understand? It's one person. Unfortunately, this cop, I feel like, is the scum of the earth. You understand what I'm saying? Not only did you falsify a report, not only did you coerce a witness, not only did you lie about a report, you understand? You caused this young individual to take his life. You understand? You caused this. Because it was your job to investigate and see what actually was going on before it became out to see that this young man had nothing to do with the situation. And instead of you fully doing your job, you understand? You decided to take a shortcut and wind up this young man in jail. Tarnish his name, tarnish his career, tarnish everything about this young man, anything, because you failed to do your job. Now, again, he ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. You a piece of shit. You understand what I'm saying? And that goes for any other cop out there that's out there that takes this job on and signs his oath to protect and serve the community and is out doing foul shit like this to people. You're a piece of shit. You understand? Now, I'm not gonna sit up here and curse out every single cop, every single law enforcement, not at all. Because it's not everybody. But the one in particular, and one directly that had to do with all of this shit going on, you're a piece of shit, bro. And you deserve whatever Kyren Lacey did to himself. That needs to happen to you. Because you're the cause of this. You are. Had you not altered any of those statements, had you not tried to coerce a witness, had you not tried to do all that fucked up shit that you did, I don't think none of this would have happened. None of it. What, you was jealous because he was driving a Charger? What, you was jealous because whatever the problem, whatever your issue was? It shit is sad, bro. But just because one made a poor decision, the rest of the force should have to feel it.
We have a vast difference.
Let me go a little step further because I want to go to Houston a little bit because, you know, there and again, I mean, if you watch Facebook or you listen to social media, you're going to get 20 different reasons why Kyren Lacey took his life. And I'm going to go out on a limb because I figure you probably know the truth on this matter. Is there anything that you would like to set straight about the Houston part of this story?
I don't know that the Houston part of this story didn't upset me more than the front end. Let me just say this. Kyren Lacey went to Houston that Friday with his mind made. He was suffering. There was a point in time that night at his apartment, the apartment that he, his little brother, and his cousin were in. His mind was made. He wanted the keys to that vehicle to, I don't know how to say this, to
And
take his life.
Yeah. So, it's either you give me my keys and I do this on my own accord, or this is going to go down right here, right now. Obviously, the keys were given. A welfare call was made. Keyword, welfare. Welfare check. Right? There was no crime. There's none of that, man. Mm-hmm. No drugs, none of that BS. Kid's mind was made. You know the rest of the story.
So he told whomever he was with that that was the place and time. Wasn't there a shot fired or something?
That's how he got his keys. I think that's how you're showing him. And by the way, the shot was fired in the ground on purpose to let them know the seriousness of what was going on in his head.
So he wanted their attention.
He wanted his keys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they knew not to give him his keys. They knew what was going to happen. But what are you going to do? You going to watch it go down, or are you going to give him his keys?
Mm-hmm. Right.
His mind was made. Social media killed him. Killed him.
Mm-hmm.
All those tough guys behind the computer.
Yep.
Same ones that would come after me when I do this interview. Those guys.
A young man could not get used to it.
They're kids, man. The difference between you and I, Martin, and them, they don't know anything else other than those devices.
Right.
You especially. I'm a little bit younger, but even myself, that's a later deal. That's all they know. They can't get away from them. And they believe what these people say. They believe them.
Right.
It doesn't matter what I showed you today. There are going to be people that are going to talk horribly about him, horribly about me. Life is such, but I have a job to do. No matter who is in the way of that. You have to do what you have to do. Whatever consequences come my way from this, so be it.
Stand 10 toes behind that.
And I'm hearing you loud and clear. He, in his own mind, and I'm speculating, he was already prosecuted in his own mind.
That's correct. He's already prosecuted.
And we can only imagine, wasn't the Vikings about to draft him?
I had talked to the Saints. I had talked to the Vikings. Not that I'm his agent by any stretch,
No, I know.
but there were teams reaching out to learn about this matter, that really liked him. But they obviously wanted to know what was going on. I did the best that I could to tell them and advise them the grand jury was set for this particular day. We didn't make it there, though. So Kyren Lacey is going to change the way things are done. He's going to make people think twice about what they say before they say it. Not everybody, somebody. Maybe Kyren Lacey makes someone think twice before the next investigation to say, hold on, maybe we got to look at a few other things here, right? Maybe let's not jump to conclusions. Thoroughly review. Just maybe somebody else is saved from the same exact thing. Maybe thousands.
I do offer all other sides a chance to come. They can debate it or rebut or whatever.
To this day, formal charges were never accepted by the district attorney. This is over.
Over.
There's no
Done.
criminal proceeding.
Done.
This is about making a promise to a kid who begged you to help him. You make a promise, you follow through on that promise. It's nothing more, nothing less to tell the world Kyren Lacey's version. He never got to tell the world his version. We just did that.
Wow. Have you spoken to his family?
I did.
Seth?
I did. I met with him after obtaining everything, thoroughly going through it, watching videos, listening to statements. We've seen everything. And, it just brings back a lot of memories. Same for Mr. Hall's family. I know it brings back some memories you guys don't want to recall. Same for the Lacey family. Because at the end of the day, you got two very important lives that were lost. Nothing's going to bring that back, either one of them. So I talked to him. You can about imagine how it went. Very cordial, though. No yelling, no throwing, none of that. A lot of crying.
Right.
As I suspect Mr. Hall's family does the same thing, rightfully so, right? So it's just not fun for anybody, to be quite frank.
And that's the hardest part about doing an interview like this is you have so many people involved, and Kyren Lacey just happens to be such a high-profile person that I know the Halls grieving, and once again, if I had any regrets from the first interviews that I didn't talk about Mr. Hall, and from what I heard, he was a tremendous man and just great storyteller, good person, but
Class act family.
It's just, it seems to be a tragedy all the way around.
It is.
When you really look at it.
It is. There's no winners here. There never will be. The class that Mr. Hall's family has exhibited has been tremendous. I know it's hard, but truly appreciated.
Yeah, and hopefully this can find some kind of space where truth is always the best aspect of people coming forward. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the state police too, because I've worked with them for 42 years, and they come every week to do news stories, and we always want to be careful on this news desk that we don't say something that sort of depicts the whole deal as being the whole State Police or the whole district attorney's
And the
office.
crazy part about all this, fam, the information you guys just heard before it was released to the public was also the information that was presented to the 17th District Court, which approved an arrest warrant based on evidence collected. As with all investigations leading to an arrest, the subjects of the investigation are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But we all know how that goes. Now, since all this information has come out to the public, the police has been defending the findings of Lacey Crash investigation after his attorney provides new evidence. So as of now, fam, it's on us to make sure they do what they need to do. That's right, we're not asking for no favors. We want justice, and we want it as quick as they arrested this man and tried to tear down his image, which led to him ultimately losing his life before he was set to take trial. I'm sending love and prayers to Lacey's family. I'm praying for justice. And fam, I hope I get to do my part by trying my best to shine light on this story and bringing it to you guys' attention. With that being said, this was an update of a man who lost his life by his own hands after not knowing how to deal with so much pressure of being publicly found guilty while knowing you innocent. As more develop, I'm gonna keep you guys updated. Fam, let me know how you feel about this one in the comments.
Now, a lot has taken place in this video. For those that stuck through to the end, I appreciate you. You understand? But there's a lot to unfold when it comes to this video, right? From the starters, I want to start off by saying, may Kyren rest in peace, and may Mr. Ho rest in peace. My condolences go out to their loved ones, anyone that may have been affected by the situation. You understand? 2 lives were lost in this situation, nobody won, and 2 families gotta feel the pain behind this situation and decisions behind 2 adults that ultimately led up to the situation occurring. There's no wrong, nothing different Kyren could have did. There's nothing that Kyren could have done different in the situation. A lot of videos I react to, there's a better way of going about it, there's a different way about going about things. There's nothing there's literally nothing that this kid could have done different in the situation. Literally nothing. 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 Innocent gonna be the word for this kid in this situation. Whatever he had to go get done, he did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. And it sucks because a lot of my videos, like I said before, I try to give a better alternative to things, try to give better advice to things, try to find a better solution to things that don't ultimately end up with you either dead or in jail or in a situation where you can't get yourself out of. But there's really nothing to say about the situation. The system ultimately failed this young man 110%. 110%. To sit here and watch an hour. Now, I seen the video, I heard about the situation. I didn't fully look into it. I didn't fully see it. I didn't fully read about it. And I never gave an opinion about it because of whatever I was dealing with at the time or whatever situation was going on. I just didn't give too much attention to it because of, as a matter of fact, the same thing happened with, and I think this is kind of what happened when it came down to this kid. The Raiders player had just did the same exact thing, drinking and driving, and killed a girl. And I think this happened shortly after as to why everyone was like, you know what, let's just turn a blind eye against him and let's say he did it and there's something wrong with his plays or whatever case may have you. I think that's what it was. Not only that, he's driving a Charger. That's one of the most hated vehicles in the streets in society today. Hated. Reckless driving, don't know how to have control, young niggas is driving it, why he's bugging on the street. It's the most hated vehicle on the street. You understand? So I think that's kind of why it took the turn that it did when it came down to him and not giving him a fair chance of explaining or saying anything what happens. Not only that, when these cases happen, the first thing they tell you is you can't speak about it. You can't give a statement. You can't go out publicly and speak about it. So it kind of mutes you into not saying anything until you go to court. Now, the power of social media is very, 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 very dangerous. You understand? If it's not used in the correct way, and even still, it can be very dangerous. Young adults, kids, adults, black, white, Indian, Chinese, I don't care where you from, how they look, how old they are, all sit behind this computer and say whatever the fuck they want to say. Call you out your name, make up stories, generate stories, lie about shit, falsify information, all kind of shit. And if you give in, it will drive you fucking crazy. It will drive you crazy. And it's sad to see that this situation happened And that's exactly what happened to this kid. Social media tore him down. Ripped his scholarship away, ripped away his future, ripped away his reputation, ripped away every single thing behind something he had nothing to do with. Nothing to do with. What you can mainly say, or I can mainly advise anyone to do, is to stay close to your loved ones when they're going through tough times. Keep them clear-minded and headstrong about what's going on during these tough times. Because this young man knew from the moment it happened, to the second he got arrested, to the day he got pulled into the precinct in question, he had nothing to do with his accident. Nothing to do with his accident. But social media got into his head and led him to ultimately kill himself 48 hours before he got presumed innocent. This shit is sad. Absolutely sad. I couldn't even think of a more of a word to give other than sad. I don't know how young he is, but the fact that he was in college, about to get drafted, speaks that this young man had a bright future ahead of him. A bright future. And only thing that I did not see in this video that I would like to see is what happened to that young lady that actually did cause this accident. What happened to her? Because it's very fast and quick for people in social media and everybody else to jump on the bandwagon and crucify somebody and put the blame on somebody and kill somebody mentally, physically, emotionally, verbally, and violate them and tarnish their names and everything else when they have something to show for, when they have something bright to go for. I hope, and I don't like to say let's put the bash or bash somebody or put the blame on somebody or violate anybody. I'm not for that, or bullying anybody. But this man was wrongfully accused of something that he had nothing to do with. So I hope this young lady gets put on the same pedestal and held responsible and accountable for her actions. She's ultimately the one that caused this accident. And the same thing goes for that officer. I hope he's the one that gets put on the same pedestal to be held accountable and held responsible for what the hell going on. Because he is also ultimately the one accused or also responsible for this shit happening. None of the information matched. None of it. From the black box, from the police report, none of the shit matched. From the story that was told, none of it was matched. So sooner rather than later, this boy should have been put innocent from the beginning. When there's multiple stories being told, multiple shit being happening, and this and the third it should be instantly looked into, instantly, because it's only one story should be told, and that's the truth. And multiple people seen this shit unfold. So if none of these people that was there seen this shit and shit was left out and shit was avoided, this kid should have got told he was innocent from a long time ago. But again, it's the process of the system so that way it has to go down this way. And it sucks even more because he knew, and the whole world knows. As a college player in the sports or any of the other situations, when you're involved in this shit, you get dragged for as ever long the court decide to drag the situation on for. Like evidence, let's push out the date. Like this, let's push out the date. The jury's this, that, and the third, let's push out the date. For all this time until today that this man that did this said, what would be in October, this shit happened in December of last year. So for this entire time, this boy would have got crucified this entire time. He wouldn't have got his deal back for LSU. He wouldn't have got another NFL opportunity or draft day to go to the NFL after this occurred. None of this shit would have happened for this boy because of this shit happened. And there's nothing anybody can say, yo, Kyren, you shouldn't have been driving that car like that. Kyren, you shouldn't have been going that fast. Kyren, you shouldn't have been in that look. He ain't do shit wrong. He ain't did nothing wrong. Like, absolutely nothing. Like this, I've never seen somebody so innocent in a situation like this ever in my life. He did absolutely nothing wrong. But yet, everything just folded and tumbled down on him. This is fucking sad, bro. Went home, told his family, yo, give my car keys, bro. I'm about to end this shit. Give my keys, bro. That boy was suffering for months, knowing that this shit was, that he was innocent the whole time. Innocent. And I get, we could all say, yo, y'all supposed to stop him. You can't stop somebody that's determined to do some shit, bro. A grown-ass man, bro. You ain't gonna, and he's holding a gun. You ain't gonna jump in front of him and say, yo, give me the gun. Or yo, I'm gonna take bro, you scared for your own life. You don't know what he's capable of doing. He's already mentally fucked up behind the shit that's going on already. His whole life he's living a dream. Going to college, made it out the hood, I'm sure. Got girls on his body, got a nice car, got jewelry, shining in the limelight for LSU. Tumbled in a matter of hours. Stripped of everything in a matter of hours. You're not gonna get in the way of that. So it sucks. It for sure 110% sucks. But you can't get in the way of a young man or a man trying to stop pain that he's dealing with from shit that he know that he's getting innocent of. Innocent. This shit sucks, bro. It's the worst, bro. This shit is the worst, man. The absolute worst. And I can only imagine how his family feel. Not only him, but the man that got killed in the accident. Somebody else is being crucified and violated for something he didn't even do. While these two people are out there living their life, the girl and the two people that's actually involved in the situation that should be being crucified and violated, them two are out living their life like nothing ever happened. Falsifying reports and, oh yeah, I don't know what happened. I was sitting there driving, eating my Funyuns. Knowing damn well it was your fault that you crashed to that man's car and killed him. This shit is absolutely sad, bro. Absolutely sad. And as I said in a video a few videos ago, it's sad that shit like this has to happen. That an eye has to be open at the justice system just keep failing people. Lies being told. My nigga, if you don't feel like doing the job, quit the goddamn job, bro. Falsifying reports. If you too tired to do the job or you had enough of the job, quit the goddamn job, bro. But one little mistake that you could make will crucify and make somebody lose their life and drive somebody to kill himself. You would never thought that would happen, but it happened. But it happened. And like bro said, I'm sure that this is going to open up a lot of eyes to help a lot of people. Shout out to that goddamn attorney, bro. Shout out to everybody that puts on a suit and tie and uniform that go to work every single day with the same objective, and that's to protect and serve people protect and serve the innocent and crucify and serve punishment to those that are out wilding out. Shout out to them. Because those people are the reason why people like me and you and everybody else in this world get to walk around and be the people that we are and do things that we got to do to provide and protect our family. Them. And keep you innocent. Because he was looked at as another black kid. Oh, yeah, he's going, yeah, fuck it. He did it. It is what it is. 30 days in jail. It is what it is. But that lawyer and that attorney decided to say, no, I'm not going for that. He innocent. He innocent. So shout out to those that do that take their job very seriously and care about people that they're protecting and serving for and doing their job right. But shout out to them. And big shout out to him. The same way Kyren got crucified and violated, the same thing happened to this dude. Oh, he's a black dude. He yada yada yada. Fuck him. No. Not every black person out there wilding out. Not every black person out there doing foul. And for sure, this black person didn't deserve what the hell he just got. Ain't deserve it at all. Didn't deserve it at all. It's sad, bro. And it really sucks to see that this young man lost his life and took his life behind something that he didn't even do. Nothing to do with. For all you trolls out there, all you computer gangsters and shit out there, this is what y'all drop people to do. This is what y'all drop people to do. Because you want to sit behind a computer and act tough, or you want to talk bad about people and make up false stories. Get the fuck off the computer and go find something to do with your life. Go find something productive to do, then sit up here and try to violate people on the internet. This is what you drop people to do. This. Killed himself because he couldn't take it anymore. This shit is sad. And I don't have no loved ones that's dealt with this, but I can only imagine my brother, my cousin, my sister, my brother, anybody that ultimately did this to themselves because of social media. Social media is dangerous, bro. And a lot of people don't understand this shit. It's very dangerous, bro. Very dangerous. Try to block it out. Try to avoid it. Try to stay strong. When you put yourself in the limelight, your life, your career, your job, your hobby, whatever the case may be, when you put yourself in the limelight, just know you're at risk of going through this shit. You understand? Just know that. When times get rough, turn social media off. I know it can be a very addictive thing. Turn this shit off. Until shit squared away for you and you know you ain't gonna be good and you know that you ain't doing nothing, you innocent, turn this shit off. Turn this shit off. But for him, it was very hard because at the end of the day, that was his life. Social media, getting that clout, getting that fame, getting that attention to make sure that his life was still gonna keep going the way it was going. Overall, a terrible situation. Terrible, terrible situation. So, rest in peace to Kyren. Rest in peace to Mr. Hall. Shout out to the attorney. And for all you computer gangsters and all you want to be thugs behind a computer keyboard, stop the bullshit. Stop the bullshit immediately. Unfortunately, this is a situation that's going to have to open up a lot of eyes to the public, to the system, to everybody. To understand and stop trying to cut short and stop trying to make shortcuts to do your job. Do your goddamn job. And if you don't want to do it, then quit and let somebody else do it. This should have never happened. This should have never happened. But unfortunately it did. And now two families, not one, but two, have to feel the pain behind the situation occurring. So as I said before, that girl, she needs to be held responsible. That cop definitely needs to be held responsible. The both of them. The both of them. I ain't seen nothing happen about neither one of them. Nothing said about any one of them, but identify who they were. But them two need to be prosecuted and put punishment on the same way that everybody else was supposed to be. Or the same way Kyren was about to go through. Y'all definitely need to be put in y'all need definitely for the repercussion and feel some punishment behind this shit. Because it's not cool. So, as I said before, may Kyren rest in peace. Shout out to our attorney for not letting this shit go slip by under the rug and let it publicly be known that this young man was innocent and had nothing to do with the situation. And rest in peace to Mr. Hall, another innocent life that was taken in a situation that shouldn't have happened. May everyone out there stay safe, hug your loved ones, stay strong, try to stick by their side. And if times get rough, stay the fuck off social media, cause it will definitely drive you crazy if you don't have the mental strength and tolerance to see and deal with what people are doing and saying about you on the internet. And that's that. That's the end of the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. You guys let me know if you with this video, and until next time, I'll see y'all.